What happens when a simple act of kindness changes the course of history? He gave food to 2 giant Apache sisters. Next day, 700 warriors surrounded his ranch. Witness this unbelievable true-inspired story right here on Whisper of the Past. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share where you're watching from. Let's get started. Year was 1872. The Arizona Territory was a harsh and unforgiving land where survival depended on grit, determination, and sometimes pure luck. Among the settlers brave enough to carve out a life in this wilderness was Thomas McKinley, an Irish immigrant who had established a modest ranch near the foothills of the Chiricahua Mountains. Tom, as he was known to the few neighbors he had, wasn't like most settlers. While others viewed the Apache people as enemies to be feared or eliminated, Tom saw them as human beings trying to protect their ancestral lands. He'd witnessed too much bloodshed on both sides and believed there had to be a better way. His ranch hands thought he was naive. His fellow ranchers called him a fool. But Tom McKinley held firm to his principles. It was late autumn when everything changed. The sun was setting, painting the desert sky in brilliant shades of orange and crimson. Tom was checking on his cattle near the western edge of his property when he noticed 2 figures approaching in the distance. As they drew closer, his breath caught in his throat. They were Apache women, and they were unlike any he had ever seen. These sisters stood well over 6 feet tall, towering figures with powerful builds that spoke of strength and endurance. Their traditional Apache clothing was worn and dusty from travel, but it was their eyes that struck Tom most. Despite their intimidating presence, their eyes showed exhaustion, hunger, and something else: desperation. Tom's ranch hands reached for their rifles, but he quickly raised his hand to stop them. The women approached slowly, hands visible, showing they carried no weapons. In broken Spanish mixed with Apache words, the older sister explained their situation. Their band had been scattered by cavalry soldiers. They had been walking for days without food or water. They were not asking for charity. They were willing to work for whatever Tom could spare. Most ranchers would have turned them away or worse. The Apache Wars were still raging, and harboring Apache people, even women, could be seen as treason by the military authorities. But Tom saw 2 human beings in need. He saw mothers, daughters, sisters. He made his decision in an instant. Come, he said simply, gesturing toward the ranch house. Eat first. We'll talk about work later. His ranch hands protested. They warned him about the danger. They reminded him of the attacks, the raids, the violence. But Tom was unmoved. These women are starving, he said firmly. We have food. That's the end of the discussion. Tom led the sisters to his ranch house and instructed his cook to prepare a meal. The women ate slowly at first, as if unable to believe their good fortune. Tom didn't hover or make them feel uncomfortable. He simply ensured they had plenty of food and fresh water. When they finished, he offered them blankets and a safe place to sleep in the barn. The older sister looked at him with tears streaming down her weathered face. She spoke in Apache words Tom couldn't understand, but he felt their meaning. Gratitude, deep, profound gratitude. That night, Tom slept uneasily. His ranch hands took turns keeping watch, convinced that they would all be murdered in their beds. But the night passed peacefully. When dawn broke, the 2 sisters were gone. They had left quietly before sunrise, taking nothing but the memories of unexpected kindness. Tom went about his day as usual, thinking the encounter was finished. He had no idea that everything was about to change. Around mid-morning, one of his ranch hands came running from the northern pasture, his face pale with terror. "Mr. McKinley," he gasped, trying to catch his breath. "You need to see this." Now, Tom rode out with several of his men, unsure what to expect. When they crested the hill overlooking his property, his heart nearly stopped. Surrounding his ranch from every direction were Apache warriors, hundreds of them. Tom's men later estimated there were nearly 700 warriors, the largest gathering anyone had seen in years. They were mounted on horseback, armed with rifles, bows, and lances. It was an overwhelming force that could wipe out Tom's ranch in minutes. This is it," one of the ranch hands whispered, his voice shaking. "They're going to kill us all because you fed those women." But something was wrong with this picture. The warriors weren't attacking. They weren't even advancing. They simply sat on their horses in complete silence, forming a massive circle around the ranch. Tom felt his mouth go dry. He had never seen anything like this. Was it a siege? A threat? A prelude to slaughter? Then, from the center of the Apache formation, a group of riders emerged. Leading them was a tall, imposing figure, wearing the regalia of an Apache chief. Beside him rode the two sisters from the previous night. Tom's heart pounded as they approached. His men begged him to stay back, to take cover, to prepare for battle. Instead, Tom McKinley did something that shocked everyone. He dismounted from his horse, removed his hat, and walked forward alone to meet them. The Apache chief stopped his horse a few feet from Tom. For a long moment, the two men simply looked at each other. The silence was deafening. Then the chief spoke in surprisingly clear English. "These are my daughters," he said, gesturing to the two women. "Yesterday they were lost, starving, and afraid. You could have turned them away. You could have harmed them. Instead, you showed them kindness when you had no reason to do so." Tom nodded slowly, unsure where this was going. The chief continued, his voice carrying across the valley. "The Apache people do not forget such things. You fed our daughters. You protected them. You treated them with dignity. For this, we honor you." What happened next became legend in the Arizona Territory. The chief raised his hand, and the 700 warriors behind him raised their weapons high in the air. Not in threat, but in salute. Then, as quickly and silently as they had appeared, they began to disperse. Before leaving, the chief made Tom a promise. "From this day forward, your ranch and your people are under our protection. No Apache warrior will ever raise a hand against you or yours. You have our word." True to their promise. Tom McKinley's ranch was never attacked during the remaining years of the Apache Wars, even during the most violent periods. When other ranches were raided and burned, Tom's property remained untouched. Some said it was marked with Apache symbols that warned warriors away. Others claimed that word had spread among all the Apache bands about the white rancher who had shown kindness to the chief's daughters. Tom McKinley never sought fame or recognition for what he did. He simply saw two hungry people and offered them food. But that simple act of human decency created a bond between two cultures at war. It proved that even in the darkest times, compassion could bridge the widest divides. The story of Tom McKinley and the Apache sisters reminds us that kindness is never wasted. A single act of generosity can ripple outward in ways we cannot imagine. Tom didn't feed those women because he expected a reward. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And in doing so, He not only saved his own life, but created a legacy of peace that lasted for generations. Asterisk, what do you think you would have done in Tom's situation? Would you have taken the risk? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this incredible story from the past, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Whisper of the Past for more amazing historical tales. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next journey through time. Until next time, remember that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can change the world.